Yep. Hello, everybody. We are back with the One and Done radio show. It has been a while, but NBA starting up, so I'm getting my groove back. So we're gonna be doing this weekly. So today we're gonna start off with a bang. We're gonna do a conference standing predictions. I spent my bus ride over here, writing these down, writing down what I think the seedings will be, and writing down my record predictions, which is taking a long time, but I'm ready. The NBA starts in 10 days. No, 12 days, basically 2 weeks. So I cannot wait. Um, First day of the NBA, we got Rockets Thunder, and then we got Lakers Warriors. So that's gonna be a great start. But before we get started with the rankings, I just wanna give you my criteria and what I base these rankings off of. Obviously, I can just say I predicted what I think is gonna happen, but we all know how the NBA works. There's gonna be an injury. There's gonna be multiple injuries to a team. A star player is gonna get hurt for either the whole season or half the season. It's gonna ruin a team season. It happens every year. We can't predict it. We can only just account for it. So in my rankings, I didn't account for it thinking that he would be out, but I didn't go as high as they could be. I kind of went based off of what I see the outcome of the future for this team would be, kind of a best case scenario, if that makes sense. Because if you add up all the wins and losses, it probably wouldn't make sense like mathematically. But I just did basically off of peak performance and peak best case scenario because obviously best case scenario, not because that best case scenario for every team is like, oh, they go 82-0, but like realistic peak scenario. So we're gonna start off with the East because I think the East is a little easier to predict since there's a clear gap between contenders and playoff teams and bottom feeders, in my opinion. So for the first seed, I think this team probably had the best offseason in terms of just getting better on because they go from contender to they made the Eastern Conference Finals. I think the Knicks are going to be the first seed in the West in the East. I think they're going to be six. I predicted 61-21. Yeah, 61-21. It's one of those things that they changed the coach. The coaching in the regular season was never the problem, but they never looked as good as they were supposed to be on paper. Now you give them a coach and a deeper bench and a deeper roster. I think at least regular season wise, they're gonna be a better team. They're gonna be one of those teams that just run through the regular season. They kind of get through. They win the games. Their starters sit most of the games. It's one of those things that the team is like basically what the Cavs were last year. Obviously, not to the level of like they were on pace for 70 wins. I don't think any this team's gonna be on pace for 70 wins, but I think they're gonna be the clear one seed. The Knicks, they all you gotta do is really stay healthy. They majorly stay healthy last year, despite the Brunson injury for like that rough the end of season. But I think it's gonna I think they'll be the first seed. My second seed, this is a little difficult, but I still have the Cavs. The Cavs last year they kind of ran through the East. I think majority will stay the same despite the little changes. They got Lonzo Ball. Forgive me also. This offseason I took a mental health break from basketball. So the free agency, I promise you I can't tell you every free agent that's been taken that where every free agent has been. I just know like the big news and the news for my team, but if I have to look it up, I will. I want to see who the Cavs got this season. I know they got Lonzo Ball. I know they lost Ty Jerome. They have they added what's his last year. My apologies. Let me just look this up. Okay, we're gonna go to the. All right, the Cavs. They added Lonzo Ball. They re-signed Sam Merrill. They added Larry Nance and they added Thomas Bryant. Thomas Bryant. They lost Ty Jerome and Isaac Okoro. The roster turnover hasn't been crazy. They added a good off the bench player in Lonzo Ball, if not starter. I know Darius Garland's hurt for the first couple of weeks, but if I'm out, I'm not too sure. But I still think They have the coaching, they have the team, they have the play style to win games in the regular season. When it comes to playoffs, we don't know. We're out to see throughout the season. We thought throughout the season last year that they would have made it to at least the Eastern Conference Finals, and they lost in the second round. We couldn't have predicted the Pacers being so good in the playoffs, but it is kind of disappointing how you win 64 games and you don't even make the conference finals. So I think they'll be looking to bounce back on this season. So now the first two I feel like are kind of the consensus 1 and 2 seeds. Like the Knicks were good last year. It seems like they got better. And the Cavs last year were the 1 seed. Wasn't close. I was they were running away the whole year, even though the Celtics had 61 wins. But that comes to my third seed, the Celtics. I know the Celtics. They lost all their players, and they're still going to be the third seed. How is that possible? I think, yeah, wow. They lost Drew Holiday, Al Horford, Luke Cornett, Georges Niang, and Kristaps Porzingis. Georges Niang never played for them, but yeah. So the Simons, and then they got Anthony Simons, Josh Minott, Luka Garza, and Chris Boucher. Now it's not looking. It doesn't look like the Celtics are going to win or to be the 3 seed. I have them winning 51 games. The Cavs I had winning 58 games, and Knicks 61. If I didn't say that already, but the Celtics, Tatum, he looks to be out for the start of the season, but when he comes back, which he will come back because the NBA has gone advanced to the point where an Achilles injury isn't going to ruin your career anymore. We've seen it with Kevin Durant. Yes, we know Kevin Durant's one of one, but who's to say Jason Tatum isn't the same? Jason Tatum will be back. And my guess would be January, if not December. He looks dedicated to coming back. I assume they can tread the water. Jaylen Brown, he's an all-star. They've been doing this for the last 5 years. Um, yeah, since 2020 when they gave the keys to Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they haven't missed the playoffs. They've looked dominant. They've won the finals. They've made Eastern Conference Finals runs. A little roster turnover probably won't change that. I know they've lost a lot of the players who were the reason they won 60 games last year, but they still got Jaylen Brown, Derek White. They still got They got Anthony Simons, Payne Pritchard. They got guys who can put the ball on the floor. They got guys who can score. They got defenders. They got the blueprint to win games. I'm not saying they'll win a championship because championship and regular season are a lot different, but they have the roster to go out there throughout the regular season and just win games. That's what they've been doing for majority of my basketball life. Like I don't expect it to change now just because they've lost some key pieces to them being a dynasty. They weren't like they had the blueprint to be a dynasty. That year they won 64 games and won the championship. They kind of breezed through the championships. And last year they made it through. They lost to the Knicks, but they looked really good on throughout their whole thing. Let me find the next team. But yeah, I still think if it's a hot take, if it's not, the Celtics will be the 3 seed. And for the 4 seed, I got give me a second. Yeah, I got the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, how can a team that didn't even make the play-in, didn't compete for anything, was out for pretty much majority of the season, how are they going to jump up to the 4 seed? They were hit with the injury bug. There's nothing they could have done about that. Yes, they have players who are injury prone, Joel Embiid, Paul George, but I think the roster turnover, Jared McCain's already hurt, but I think if they stay healthy, they will clearly be the 4 seed. They have talent among like they have deep. Give me a second. It's been a while. I like their core. I like their coach. Their coach was a little questionable last year, but I think he can turn it around to win regular season games. They re-signed Quinn Grimes. They have Kyle Lowry. Eric Gordon's back. Eric Gordon's 40, but Justin Edwards. They signed Trendon Watford, and they lost Yabusele, Ricky Council the fourth, and Jared Butler. Right? Joel Embiid comes back healthy. He looks healthier than ever. They drafted VJ Edgecombe. That's a top 3 talent, top 3 prospect in the league. He's gonna develop under this organization. They have Tyrese Maxey, Paul George, Quinn Grimes is still on the roster. Jared McCain, when he comes back, is fully healthy. I think this team is gonna be able to win regular season games. I've seen it in the year where Joel Embiid, where he was an MVP candidate, a top 2 MVP candidate. They still have Kelly Oubre, Adam Bona, Andre Drummond. Yeah, they have talent across the board. They have the ability to win games throughout the regular season. And I'm gonna keep saying it, like, just because they win regular season games doesn't mean they're bound to win a championship or compete in the playoffs. They just have the constructed roster to win regular season games. It's how the NBA works. There are teams last year who won a whole bunch of regular season games. They got to the playoffs and they showed that they weren't ready to win the playoff game. It's just how it's all about staying healthy. And I know the 76ers and staying healthy doesn't really work, but they're due to stay healthy and they're due to win games in the regular season. Joel Embiid, when he plays in the regular season, is an MVP level candidate. He's an MVP talent. He's always has been. He just had the unfortunate hinder of being injury prone and overweight and injury prone. I think if he gets healthy, which we have seen the pictures, but we pictures don't really matter, but we've seen the pictures of him looking in shape, looking ready for the season. I think that they could make a run this regular season. I have them winning. I have them winning 50 games, 50 and 32. And now on the fifth seed, I feel like, in my opinion, had the best offseason. They they looked they looked shaky last year, but I think the additions they made really helps them get better and win more regular season. I have the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks signed Nikhil Alexander-Walker. They signed Luke Kennard. They signed Chris. They traded for Kristaps Porzingis, right? They're getting Jalen Johnson back fully healthy. Their team last year looked solid with Jalen Johnson on the court. Too bad they lost him for the season. Hopefully he comes back healthy. Dyson Daniels was an DPOY candidate. Zachary Shea, the number 1 overall pick from the year before. He's only going to get better. Him as what he could be a breakout star, and one of the future. I will have him as one of the breakout candidates. He looks like he'll be pretty good. They got Nikhil Alexander-Walker off the bench. That's a great 6-man. That's a great defensive player to come in. Trae Young. Trae Young is an offensive engine, despite what you think of him. Despite if you think Patrick Beverley is better than him, he's still gonna come in and he's still gonna produce, get guys open looks, put points on the board, get his teammates involved. I think this team looks really good. They're coached by damn, I'm falling off. I die from getting his name. Quinn Snyder. Quinn Snyder. He's a good coach. He's doing his job. Him on the Jazz. They got him. He got him as the first seed. I really think he can do the same thing. With this Hawks team, they're built well. They lost a couple guys, but I think despite that, they still will end up winning games. I have them winning 49 games. I haven't been to like the mid, um, the 5 seed, the mid up contender kind of. They're in like the second tier of contender. But for the regular season, I have them going out. They're gonna win games. I think we're just underrating the fact that Trae Young can win games just because his teams in the past haven't been as good as they were from that one time they did win a bunch of games. Now, the 6th seed team, I'm gonna go out and say that the Orlando Magic are going to Orlando Magic are gonna be the 6th seed. I have them winning 47 games. There'll be the last tier of not contender of the team before the play-in teams. Actually, I would say the 7th seed too. But I think they're gonna be pretty good. If they can stay healthy, their defense has always been good. They're coached by Jamal Mosley. Yeah, Jamal Mosley. They're a good defensive team. They always have been since they broke out that one year. They finally got an offensive piece in Desmond Bane. If I can find this team. Oh my I'm trying to find their free agency additions. Yeah, they extended Paulo. They re-signed Mo Wagner, even though he tore his ACL. I'm pretty sure. They signed Desmond Bain. They signed Tyus Jones. They got a bench guy who can facilitate the offense. They got Desmond Bain who can put buckets and put the ball on the floor and score. Last year in the playoffs, their defense was not the problem. It's the fact that they just couldn't score outside of Paulo. It was just there was just a bunch of guys who either they couldn't shoot efficiently and they just couldn't put the ball on the floor. Now they finally got some guys who could do that. They just got to stay healthy. I feel like they're well coached throughout the season. They got length, they got depth. They can make a run in the regular season. They could, yeah, if they got 40, I can think they can sneak out 47 wins. They're a good team. I like what they're building. And the 7th seed, which would be a higher seed if they were fully healthy. I have the Pacers. We saw last year how good they were. They are probably the best coach team in the league. They run 10 deep. They run fast. They play offense at a different level from a whole bunch of teams in the NBA. I think this team could be good despite losing Tyrese Halliburton. They can 100% win regular season games off the fact that they have like 8 guys who can just go out there and play at all times. It's I think they're built more for the playoffs when they're fully healthy, but they won't be fully healthy. And to be honest, they got worse. They lost Miles Turner. If I can, they lost Miles Turner. I know that they lost Thomas Bryant. Their center depth is Jay Huff, Isaiah Jackson, James Wiseman. Wow. I think despite that, the fact that they can still score at a different level, and they have I feel like the will to win. I see them being the 7th seed, despite them losing their offensive engine. To be honest with you, but anything can happen. Injuries can happen. More than one injuries can happen. It's just how it works. I could see them also being one of those teams is like championship hangover, like a Super Bowl hangover, but in the NBA. That makes sense. 8th seed, I have the Pistons. The Pistons, I think they're building in the right direction. Also, I have the Pacers winning 45 games, and now I have the Pistons winning 44. Right? They won 44 games last year. Best case scenario. They had a bunch of close losses last year, but I think this year I can't say they got better. I also can't say they got too much worse. They lost Tim Hardaway, Dennis Schroeder, Fontecchio, and Malik Beasley. I don't quite know what's going to happen with Malik Beasley. He was a key part in their success last year. I don't know if that gambling stuff is going to get to him, but oh yeah, no, yeah, he's most likely not going to play for the Pistons. Yeah, so that's a big loss. They definitely got worse if they don't have Malik Beasley. They got a whole bunch of shooters that are gone now. They replaced them with Duncan Robinson. Karis LeVert could probably do something, but I don't know if it's gonna be too impactful. They're getting Jaden Ivey back though, which is good because he was out for the whole year, half the year, the second half of the year. It's a playoff time, but hopefully their young guys get better. That's pretty much what they need. I just I don't know if the same magic is gonna hit twice in a row of like the Pistons are gonna shock the world like they did. They already did, so they just gotta improve, get better. Hopefully they can win this playing game because I think the East will be better than a lot of people think. Like the bottom half is really bad, but I think the top half is not too crazy. It's just like the comparison of like the East to the West is why people think it's not gonna be as good, but I think they'll be fine. So I have the Pistons 8 seed, 44 wins, and the 9th seed I have the Milwaukee Bucks. Yes, I know. Like the Bucks have a top 2 player in the world. How are they gonna be the 9th seed? I think the team around them is that bad and that inconsistent that I have no vision of them winning like anything. They oh wow. They got Cole Anthony, Amir Coffey, Gary Harris, Miles Turner. They lost Pat Connaughton, Dame, Brooke Lopez, and irrelevant guy. All right, they re-signed pretty much everyone. Their team last year, to be honest, was not very good. They were very Giannis dependent. They ended up winning 48 games. They I don't see a world where this team can function without Giannis. So if best case, I think Giannis plays. He's an MVP candidate like he always is, and they make a run to at least make a playoff spot. Worst case, Giannis misses a little bit of time and his team collapses, and the team can't function without Giannis. I don't see how their offense can be any good. Their offense is wow, if unless we get a surprise, shocking season from them, and Doc Rivers coaches his butt off, but like I can't see it. They're gonna have to show me. And then for the 10 seed, we don't want them to be the 10 seed, but they always end up being the 10 seed. The Miami Heat. The Miami Heat, they somehow always find a way to win some games. No one ever knows how, but they got wow, they got Simone Fontecchio, they re-signed Davion Mitchell, they traded for Norman Powell, and they signed Precious Achua. They lost Kyle Anderson, Haywood Highsmith, Duncan Robinson, Kevin Love. They have they just have the I don't know, just the coaching to win. It makes no sense. Tyler Hero, he's out to start the season. Bam, Norman Powell, Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins is probably gonna get traded, but until then, he's on the roster. Davion Mitchell, Kel'el Ware, Terry Rozier, Hami Hawkins. Like their team is a bunch of like guys who can have a night any night, but and then eventually they'll find a way to put it all together and then they'll win. I think they have a great defensive front court in Kel'el Ware, Bam, and Andrew Wiggins at the moment, but like I just don't see this team winning enough games, and I honestly don't see them. I can see them selling at the deadline, but I still think they'll sell at the deadline and end up getting still making this roster spot. I have them winning 36 games, but I think the East below the Bucks are going to be pretty bad. It's kind of weird. The Heat just never find a way to just not make the playoffs. It's or at least to play in demons. But I mean, yeah, the Heat 10 seed. They'll probably lose to the Bucks in playing, but it's just a prediction. 11 seed, I have the Hornets, 35 and 47. They got they got Pat Connaughton. They signed Spencer Dinwiddie, Mason Plumlee, and traded for Colin Sexton. I think. Oh wow, who is? Give me a second. Who are their big men? They lost Mark Williams. They lost Yusuf Nurkic. Is Mason Plumlee their starting big? Musa Diabetes. Yeah. This team is young. This team can run, but I don't see them making a play and push. I know they got some veterans. Colin Sexton is not too bad. LaMelo Ball is getting older, but Brandon Miller is getting better. Their first round draft pick, Tijan Salon. Let's see what he can do. But this team is still like a year away, 2 years away from even like making a playoff push. They just need to draft better. They need to get better. They need more. They just need better players to plug in. Shout out Josh Green, Mavericks legend, but yeah, I don't think this team is going to be that much better than they were last year. Like despite the fact that LaMelo Ball gets hurt every year, let's just hope he can stay healthy. Toronto Raptors. Toronto Raptors is up next. Toronto Raptors went on all in on their starting five, and I don't know how well that's gonna work. So yeah, sorry, I have them going 33 and 49, and yeah, who do they? Give me a second. Yeah, so they re-signed Jakob Poeltl for like 100 million. They got nobody and they lost Chris Boucher. Yeah, this team's gonna be pretty much the same as last year. They got Brandon Ingram, who hasn't played yet, but is gonna be their starter. RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly, Scotty Barnes. This team is not too good. They're not gonna be too good. There's one of those teams that like I don't see it. Ochai Abaji, Grady Dick, Jonathan Magbo. It's just one of those teams that like Yeah, you gotta play them, and they're not gonna make too much noise. They might have, like, a little run, but they're not gonna be good enough to win too many games. I have them going 33 and 49, which is yeah, it's pretty much about what the Raptors are. And then, if I'm being honest, I might switch the Raptors and the Bulls. The Bulls, they seem younger, they seem more willing to win. It's that thing that, like, I'm really looking at it, the Raptors don't pop out to me on paper, even if they're, like, they stay completely healthy, which I doubt they will. And I'm not talking about gosh, I'm so I fell off with this basketball stuff, and I gotta get back into it. The Bulls, I have going 30 and 52. I might just switch them, even bump them up, maybe above the Hornets too. Yeah, I'm probably gonna do that. I'm gonna put the Bulls as the 11th seed and the Raptors as the 13th seed, and then bump the Hornets down. I have this in my notes for when next semester when the season ends. We're gonna talk about this list, my predictions, where I went wrong, but I'm trying to get it completely accurate so I don't because like I feel a type of way about this. Yeah, they re-signed Josh Giddey, they re-signed Trey Jones, they got Isaac Okoro, they lost Lonzo Ball. They probably drafted someone. They drafted pretty mid high. I don't know exactly who they drafted. They drafted someone. I'm sorry, I didn't keep up with the draft too well. But I think they're gonna be better. Josh Giddey looked really good toward the end of the season. Their three guard lineup really looked to work. I wonder how it's gonna work this year. Vucevic, will he finally be traded? This guy's been there for 4 or 5 years, and he still hasn't been traded. I don't know. The teams wanted him gone for the longest. I guess we'll see where that goes. Yeah, the Wizards. Wizards got a whole bunch of veterans. They got young guys, young pieces, but they're still the Wizards. So this is what happened. They got I mean, they're at the bottom. They signed CJ. They traded with CJ. They traded for Kelly Olynyk, Cam Whitmore. They lost Malcolm Brogdon, Rashawn Holmes, Kelly Olynyk, Jordan Poole. Wait, what? I don't know, bro. They lost Jordan Poole. They lost Marcus Smart. They they're just gonna get a year better. They're veterans, CJ, Chris Middleton. They're gonna get the young guys right, but Cam Whitmore probably gonna score a bunch of points, but they're just gonna be the Wizards all over again. And then the last place, the Nets. The Nets have a young team. They got a whole bunch of guys who still got to prove himself. They got a coach who's willing to win. Oh, they got Michael Porter Jr., Cam Thomas, but this just seems like one of those teams that like are gonna be bad. They're gonna sell and they're gonna try to lose as many games to get a high pick in the draft. It's that vibe you get. They'll probably win a couple sneaky games. They'll challenge some of your team. They'll have like close nights against some good teams, but yeah, I don't see them winning too many games. And to be honest, um, yeah, I'm gonna end the episode here because I am gonna save the Western Conference for next week. But yeah, so tune in next week for the Western Conference predictions. We'll do Western Conference awards and maybe some like sleeper candidates. But until then, I will see you guys next week. I hope you guys have a great week. Thank you for watching, and yeah, have a good one.